Please.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Jamie Dimon, JPMorgan Chase. You know, I have this completely agree that we had a crisis, and it means we should do a lot of things to fix it and reduce risk. I have this great fear that someone's going to write a book in 10 or 20 years, and the book is going to talk about all of the things that we did in the middle of a crisis to actually slow down recovery. I don't personally buy the argument that because it was a financial crisis, it has to take it a long time coming out. So I made a list of all the things that have already been done and a few things that are going to be done. So the already done, most of the bad actors are gone. They were thrifts, all the mortgage brokers, and obviously some banks. Off-balance sheet businesses are virtually obliterated. Some are gone, SIVs. A lot of the insurers that used to guarantee them are gone. CDOs are gone. Money market funds are far more transparent. Most very exotic derivatives are gone. There's far more transparency in any remaining kind of off-balance sheet thing. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are in the government hospital. Higher capital and liquidity are already in the marketplace. We estimate more than double than what was before. There are tougher requirements. Boards are tougher. Risk committees are tougher. There's an oversight committee. Regulators, I can assure you, are much tougher in every way, shape possible. One of the cores of the problem was mortgage underwriting. Mortgage underwriting has gone back to what it was 30 years ago. I think it's a good thing. But there's no more subprime, there's no more Alt-A, there's no more mortgage being packaged. The CNBC market's been completely reformed. There's far more transparent accounting. We've been through 2 stress tests, one at the Treasury, one at the Fed. I believe most of the banks passed the recent ones with flying colors, partially for the reason I just said. Now we're told there are going to be even higher capital requirements, so-called SIFI charges and G-SIFI charges, et cetera. And we know there are 300 rules coming. Has anyone bothered to study the cumulative effect of all these things? And do you have a fear like I do that when we look back and look at them all, that they will be a reason that it took so long that our banks, our credit, our businesses, and most importantly, job creation start going again? Is this holding us back at this point?
Well, Jamie, that list you gave me made me feel pretty good there for a while because it sounded like we're getting a lot done.
Yes, I agree.
That's great. Well, the crisis revealed lots of weak spots, lots of problems, and we are, it's a comprehensive, this is certainly the most comprehensive financial reform since the 1930s, and we are trying to execute it, and we're trying to address all of the problems, and you didn't mention 3 or 4 others I could think of. Yes, it was a big problem. It had a huge impact. There were many, many sources. I think one of the, just as a sort of just a pet peeve, is that many people try to say the single cause of the crisis was X. There was no single cause of the crisis. There were many, many different causes, and they interacted in a way that was in many ways unpredictable and led to the disaster that we experienced. So there are many, many things to fix, and we are working on it and making, I hope, a lot of progress. Has anybody done a comprehensive analysis of the impact on credit? I can't pretend that anybody really has. It's just too complicated. We don't really have the quantitative tools to do that. What we are trying to do, I would say, is 2 things. One is that we are trying, and I'll speak for the Federal Reserve, we are trying to move as expeditiously as we can to develop a new framework, as expeditiously as we can, consistent with doing it right, with trying to develop rules that make sense, that are consistent with good practice, but which do not unnecessarily impose costs or unnecessarily constrict credit. The second thing, and this I realize many of you here are heads of large institutions, but you think it's difficult for JPMorgan Chase. It's very, very difficult for the small banker, for the community banker, and we have set up a number of different screens, filters, committees, processes in the Federal Reserve to try to make sure that when new rules are put in place, that the smaller institutions are sheltered from them as much as possible, unless there's a necessary impact. So I hear what you're saying. We're going to do our very best. There's a trade-off there. We have to take steps to make sure that we don't have a repeat of what happened. I think we can do that in a way that preserves the key functions of banking, that allows credit to be extended, it allows the basic financial services to be extended. But there is some trade-off there, and you're right to point that out. And it's probably going to take a little bit of time before we, over time, figure out, where the cost exceeds the benefit, and we make the appropriate adjustments. But to answer your question, nobody's looked at it in all detail, but we certainly are trying, as in each part, to develop a system that is coherent and that is consistent with banks performing their vital social functions of extending credit and providing other key financial services.